On today's show, we'll recommend an EV for a lady who prefers a 2013 Nissan Leaf over a Tesla Model Y, a viewer looking for long range and a low price, and a viewer looking for a fast charging deal. Welcome to Battery Bargains, a weekly series from the Batteries Included podcast where we make EV recommendations to order. This is episode number 41. I'm Dominic Chioni, and I am joined today by Martin Lee from the EV News Daily podcast. If you're looking for your own bespoke battery bargain recommendation, send us a 1-minute video or an email with a couple short paragraphs describing your use case and budget, and we'll see about featuring your case on an upcoming episode. All right, so let's kick this thing off with our first case today. And to be transparent, we've edited or paraphrased these emails for length and clarity. You ready to go car shopping, Kyle?
Here we go.
Kyle? Martin?
Absolutely.
Who are you even? All right. So our first email comes to us from Curtis, and he writes, "Hello, Battery Bargains team. Last year, we sold my wife's ICE vehicle and became a fully electric family. The plan was for her to drive the Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive we bought, but she didn't like it as much as I'd hoped and asked if she could drive our old 2013 Nissan Leaf. Now, I want to replace the Leaf and get my wife something she'll actually like driving. So we are looking to take advantage of the used EV tax credit and get a nice car that has already depreciated, but not another Tesla. She wants something with a higher seating position and a less tech-heavy experience. She'll charge at home and will use the Model Y for road trips, so range and charging don't have to be great, but she wants more range than the around 65 miles she gets on the Leaf. I'm trying to decide between an older 2019 Audi e-tron with more miles, a not so old Volvo XC40 Recharge, or a newish Nissan Ariya. We are eligible for the credit this year and might be eligible next year, so 2023 model year cars are possible, but we likely won't be eligible after that. I want to get something really nice that my wife will love driving for a while. Which of these options would you recommend? Am I missing another good option? Thanks, Curtis." Well, I don't know. Should I tackle this?
Yeah, please do dive in.
All right. So to get an Audi e-tron competitive in price with the other options, of course, we have to look at cars with a good number of miles on them. So right now, what I've got here is probably as good as it gets for Audi e-trons. I dug up let's see if I pop this on the screen really, really quick. And so I dug up this Audi e-tron on cars.com. Boom.
Let's
Right
have a
there.
look. Oh,
It's a 2019.
Nice.
It's a 2019 Audi e-tron Premium Plus, 58,288 miles. So it's been around the block a couple times, but the price is like $24,995. And obviously they haven't. A lot of these listings you have to be careful that they've already taken off the incentive. But this already, obviously, it would be if the incentive was off, it would be $21,000. So this is basically a $21,000 car with 58,000 miles or 58,200 miles on it. Good morning, y'all. So I don't know. That's a fair amount of miles in the Audi e-tron. I'm a little iffy on that. So let's move right along and see what else we have. So the Volvo XC40 is more affordable. And we can find vehicles at a similar price points that are newer and with less miles. The best I could find was a 2021 with just over 35,000 miles. I guess I should have these on my screen to begin with, and then right. So here we're looking at a 2021 Volvo XC40 Recharge Pure Electric P8. To call it by its full name. It's got 35,122 miles on it. So I think that's a decent number of miles. It's not crazy high, but it's definitely enough miles to bring you down into this 23,798. That's like a great deal. And when you take the $4,000 credit, we're looking at what, 19,798? Is that the math?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So I kind of like this better. Everyone has their own, idea of what kind of car they enjoy driving. and the Audi is really nice. It's like a tank. It's very solid. But this is, I think, has a more of a driver's sporty feel to it slightly. And I like, of course, the Volvo design language, and like a $19,000 car with 35,000. That's a really great deal right there. I think it's not a great range, but neither is the Audi e-tron. But moving on, I think the Aria might be their best choice though. After all that, the client drives a Leaf now, so like front wheel drive is not like an issue at all. Just close these ones down here. We'll pop this up on the screen. So you have to go with the smaller pack, I think, with the Aria to find something around under 25,000 that qualifies for the tax credit. But that's still over 200 EPA miles, and that's not far off the ranges of the other ones as well. So I saw a number of super low mile cars online here, and this one might be the best deal out there right at this moment. It's a 2023, so you have to wait until the new year because you can't. The car has to be 2 years old before you can take advantage of the $4,000 used car tax credit for EVs. So, right, so you'd have to wait until the new year for this one. It's 23, so it's a brand new. It's got all kinds of warranty on it. So that's really great. And the mileage is super low, 4,356 miles. So it's like, it's a brand new car, basically. It's been around the block. It hasn't been all the way around the block yet. And that price, under 25,000, like I was really kind of shocked when I was looking at this last night. I can't believe like you can get a Nissan Aria, even like it's the Engage spec, which is, not a ton of content, but it's decent enough. Right, 200 miles of range, front wheel drive. What is the range on it actually? Yeah, 205 miles. So for that money, 21,372 miles. $21,000. I think that's, and like warranty and all that kind of stuff. I think that's the direction I would go. What do you think, Martin?
What's your favorite out of those?
I would go. I mean, if everything, all things being equal, I think I would enjoy like the 2024 XC40. I can't remember if it's the XC40 like the Polestar 2, if it went rear-wheel drive or was it already rear-wheel drive? I think it might have been already rear-wheel drive. I don't know. But man, that's a difficult choice. I think I would lean e-tron, but it's it's a much more expensive car. So yeah, I would go e-tron probably if all things being equal.
Take them for drives and see what you like. I'd love to know why his wife didn't like the Model Y, because it's a great Model Y is great. Now we had a Model Y early. When I say early Model Y, I mean early out of China Model Y, and I think they're put together really well. But my wife hated it, so we had it for a period of time. My wife felt about the Model Y, and again, Elon always says, don't buy early runs of cars, but this was coming out of Shanghai. I thought it was well put together, but for what it cost, and then the feeling that she got inside of it, because she doesn't value a lot of the high tech and the constant OTA updates and the supercharger network, she was going on feel, and she likes a few more buttons around. She doesn't want to have to dive into a screen to do everything, and she's not anti-tech. But Taycan is definitely depreciating in price. We'll all have one in the way Taycans are going. She couldn't put a finger on it, but again, it was just that the ride was far too harsh for a start in the Model Y. And she associated a comfortable ride in a vehicle that big with a premium feel. So when it was bouncing you around, she doesn't think what some people would think, like, oh, sporty, tight, She thinks, well, this is cheap. Like, this drives like, my little Renault Zoe. So... and we love our Zoes. I had two Zoes, three. Anyway, so we love our Renault Zoes back in the day, and so she felt. I'd love to know why why Curtis's wife didn't like the Model Y, because Model Y is a great choice that we recommend all the time.
Yeah, I feel weird in it too. I sit in the Model Y. I haven't actually driven the Model Y for some reason. I've been in it a number of times, but when I like sitting in the passenger seat in the front side, I don't know. There's something I don't like about it. And that
was my wife's take. She was like, "Where's the?"
I love the 3. I love the 3.
but
well,
yeah. She likes the Model 3, actually, but there's something about the Y. She felt the Y, when she drove in it, should feel more there just wasn't enough stuff around her. She's like, it's just a screen, and it's, what, 50 grand? And I was, I didn't want to argue, but I was like, well, this is meant to be a very nice car, and I like the Model Y. And it comes with a rear parcel shelf now as well, so they fixed that bit. Equally, I think the best choice for this particular gentleman, drive them all. If you are cross-shopping, I mean, they are quite different vehicles, actually, the e-tron and the XC40, or the C40, have a look at that, or a Nissan Ariya. Have a little play around with all of them. But I would, at this stage, if you got the option of getting quite a new electric vehicle that might be a little bit less premium, a little bit smaller, like the XC40 is smaller, versus a big old tank like the e-tron, which isn't that big, to be honest with you, that's almost 6 years old now, an early e-tron, I would, not just on warranty and stuff like that, I would lean towards a slightly newer car. And that's not to say they're unreliable. They're absolutely not. I don't hear horror stories about the e-tron. Obviously,
there's one thing. I think there's like a motor issue. There's something that leaks in some of them and shorts out the motor. Something Kyle's mentioned a few times. I don't know how. I mean, it's like luck of the draw kind of thing. Probably is going to be fine. I feel like,
Compare it to something like the Jaguar I-Pace that's had recall after recall after recall, and it's like, I wouldn't touch an I-Pace. I know that
I can't recommend an I-Pace, really.
What do we have? An HSC. We had an HSE for a period of time, and it came straight from Austria, and it was it's box fresh. It smelled amazing. Would I spend my own money on an old I-Pace? No, not at all. I'm really worried about them. And they were put together really well. Just had too many recalls. I wouldn't recommend them to somebody. So, I'd go with the Volvo because we had the news this week that was really welcome, that the new infotainment system that's rolling out in the EX90 and the latest, greatest Volvo infotainment is going to go out to 2.5 million of the fleet of all the Volvos and that have been out since 2020. It's not going to be, hey, pay to play, and it's going to make subscription, and we're forgetting about the installed driver base. And they're going to keep those vehicles current. And that was a huge nod for me when I heard Volvo were going to do that. It's going to affect a load of people getting all the new interface and all the latest dev time as well. So really good. I'd go with the XC40, but have a drive. I think it's a really nice size vehicle as well.
See, right. The commenters seem to be leaning XC40 a little bit. Laurie would say, not the Ariya. Volvo would be the better choice. Michael,
sorry, carry on.
Michael Klutz says the only flaw of the 2024 Model Y is the refresh is promised to be around the corner, and there is no HUD unless you install custom mods. KV says the XC40 is the coolest of them, but the Ariya at that price is a great deal. See, that's what I was thinking too. We're on the same wavelength here. And AJ Robertson mentions that the 2024 XC40 comes in dual motor and single rear motor. That's right. Right. They were in. Where are they? Did they say where they're at?
Doesn't sound like all-wheel drive. A lot of time, the letters which we receive say, "I must have all-wheel drive," and if it doesn't, we just presume it's okay to have anything really. Like we don't need all-wheel drive here.
Right. Yeah. So I guess, I don't know, we should move on to the next one, I guess.
Let's move on.
All right. So our next email comes to us from Luke, and he says, "Hey, BIP guys, I got a ride in my boss's Tesla Model 3 a couple weeks ago and want to try to go electric myself. Trouble is, I'm not rich or anything, so I need something used. Probably not a Tesla because I hear insurance is crazy high on those. I drive a good amount, about 60 miles to work and back, and then sometimes even more on the weekends. Live in snow country, so I'd want all-wheel drive. I should be able to charge at home. Don't need anything fancy, just want to save the money on gas and repairs, so reliability is important. Don't really care if it's a regular car or an SUV, just needs to have good range. So what's out there that's reliable that I can pick up for around $15,000? Thanks for your help. Luke." Well, 15 grand, that's a tight budget. I don't know. Do you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, I mean, I would stretch it a little bit if you possibly can and maybe go 17 grand and have a look at an ID4 Pro S, all-wheel drive ID4s, which I think there's been some negativity around those because the ID4 was perhaps less capable, or in some ways in its peers at the time when it was a new 41 grand car, 45 grand car for the top spec in the US. Probably wasn't, if you put it head to head on a spec sheet up against a Tesla Model Y, didn't necessarily get all the praise that it deserved. But the Model Y is a really competent vehicle. It's an all-wheel drive trim in the US. Not quite 15 grand yet, and you will be getting higher mileage. You will be getting a few miles on that vehicle, but you absolutely can get one for around that price if you can be a bit flexible. And I think for that, you get the range, you get the all-wheel drive, and you say you want reliability and you want to have that confidence in an EV. And that's where I would go with Volkswagen, because Volkswagen of North America are not going anywhere. They're always going to be there to support you if the vehicle does have an issue, or at least you can get support and go to plenty of places if the vehicle has an issue. And I don't think, although I don't know your circumstances and I haven't run quotes on your circumstances, but I think you'll find the insurance on an ID4 is perhaps lower than Tesla. Tesla owners, I find, tend to get stung a little bit by the insurance companies. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's based on fixing those vehicles or maintenance, I'm not sure, but I'd love to look into that one day. Tesla owners just seem to pay more for insurance companies, perhaps target them for whatever reason. People have theories. So, yeah, I'd look at that. What do you reckon then, Dom?
Well, first of all, who's this? Somebody keeps mentioning, oh, Buddy. Yes. Buddy is like determined that we recommend a Taycan today. He says, again, a Taycan, the answer for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you can't
I think it was a 15
grand Taycans. They're everywhere. I mean, it won't be long. Let's face it, if they carry on going the way they're going.
He forced me to go take a look. So, right. and I was like actually kind of shocked. So look at this deal. Let me take that comment down. $52,000, so 53 grand basically. A 2021 Porsche Taycan base with only like 16,500 miles on it. That's actually kind of a good deal. I imagine insurance would be high and all that kind of stuff. So definitely not the car for our current case here. But
yeah,
I just wanted to share that just because, put things in perspective of where we're at in like Taycan land. Still a bit high. So I couldn't find any all-wheel drive cars for 15 grand, including Teslas. I mean, it's pretty slim pickings out there. I thought I found a Tesla Model 3 dual motor, but the listed price didn't mention, a $2,000 down payment that showed up on the dealer's actual site. So I say go with a single motor and get good snow tires. So I did find some super affordable BMW i3s. But those are mostly 100 mile range cars, basically. So let me just pop one up here on the screen. Right. So I did find this one for under $15,000, and it's a 2019 model. So that year they got the bigger battery, so it has 153 miles of range, which is not the best, of course, compared to other things that are out there, but it's plenty to cover the commute, and it's a fun rear-wheel drive car. This one has like almost 40,000 miles on it. So that's, I don't know. I'm not really sold on that's the best solution, but that's just one of the options in that kind of category. I had really hoped to find a Hyundai Kona EV in that budget, but I could only find one that was above by $800. In its favor, it's a 2021 model and only 26. Oh, I just pulled that up and it's no longer listed. Oh, look at that.
This is how good you are at finding a battery bargain. By the time we come to do the show, it's gone. So,
right.
And we're doing it live today as well. So, you just
we're live. Yeah. This, and it was probably late at night when I found this. So, wow. But that Hyundai Kona was a decent deal. It was 25,000 miles on 26,000 miles on it, $15,800. So the only other decent option out there is the Chevy Bolt EV, and right now only the first gen cars are in this budget of $15,000. So the second gen cars, I forget what year they came out. Are those 2021s?
Oh, I don't know the year. Yeah, it's around that time.
Yeah, let me just. I'm having troubles. Okay, there's troubles finding something that's coming up on the screen here. All right. so there's like a lot of different options out there. You stick with the first gen Chevy Bolt EV, and there's a ton of options. There's like a lot of them out there in that ballpark. So that's really you can kind of take your pick what you want. How close to the top of your budget you want to get. But have more miles or go down, save some cash and just have something with more miles on it. Did I get that right? Fewer miles and more money, the few miles it is. So let's see if I can pull this up. Oh, that one's no longer listed. Well, look at that. Okay, well, what was that? Anyway, here's one that I did find. Man, having troubles today. A used 2017. So it's a little bit older. It's a Chevrolet Bolt LT, so it's not not a whole lot of features. We're talking pretty bare bones here. But the price is in your budget, and it's $14,000, and that's after the $4,000 used car credit. Like when you start looking on these sites, pretty much all of them have the $4,000 if they're eligible for it. They take it off the price in the used department for sure. So this is actually they're probably on the lot. Might have a sticker that's $4,000, so $17,999, $13,999 after your deal. So you're $1,000 under your budget. But it's like only 8,796 miles. It's like not a brand new car, but pretty pretty good. Even though it's like an older year and everything, and so it won't have the the warranty and all that kind of stuff on it. But it shouldn't need it at that low of mileage. Yeah, so I would just recommend to them going to a site like Car Gurus or Cars.com and just finding the one that strikes a balance between the model year, mileage, and price, and other things like if you like color or you want a certain trim. I'd have at it, take a look because there's a plenty out there in that range. So, what you got for it, Martin? Oh, you already did, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I think that's some good suggestions there, actually.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I like those.
Just trying to see if we have anything in the comments here. Do we have Jaguar I-Pace? Michael here paid 15 grand for his i3. Can't imagine all-wheel drive with good range for that budget. Right? Yeah, it's pretty hard to get. Not too much farther. You go up at like not $19,000. They start to pour in. As well as like the other decent front-wheel drive vehicles like the Hyundai Kona or the Kia e-Niro. Those are all up in there, and there's a bunch in like just a slightly higher budgets.
Yeah.
Right. And Michael also asked, do you have the Jaguar I-Pace in North America? They were all-wheel drive and should have silly price these days as out of production. Yes, but again, a little hard to recommend just because of reliability. Just, I don't know. I think people would really need to have like a good idea that it might not be the most reliable vehicle. And they need to be
or
near
just
a
a good
dealer.
if you can find a good third-party warranty that really did cover you for everything in terms of EV, then that would put your mind at rest.
Right. EV Life says, I'm still surprised that Kia EV6 and Hyundai Ioniq 5 not recommended much. We do talk about those cars quite a bit, generally.
Yeah.
Let's see what this next email has in it. So our final email comes to us from Robert, and he says, Dear Battery Bargains team, an avid listener from Ohio, I truly enjoy your podcast and the insightful discussions you have about electric vehicles. I'm currently in the market for a long-range electric vehicle that offers the best value. While I'm interested in the latest technology, 800 volts, NACS connector, etc., I'm concerned about spending more money just to have the newest toys. My primary need is to transport myself to work, 50 miles each way. Man, that's a commute. And for a weekend run around, my fiance with his fiance, I guess, we take 3 to 6 road trips a year, up to 500 miles, annual mileage $10,000 to $12,000 miles. So I guess he doesn't go to work every day.
Yeah, can't be a daily commute if that works out that way.
Yeah, because that's a long commute. So, and who wants to drive that far to go to work every day?
Every day.
Oh my God. So they say I'm not overly concerned about charging speed, although I feel like I should have it I do want to ensure I get a good value for my investment and best range possible. I've been considering models like the Hyundai Ioniq 5 or 6 because of their fast charging, or the Model 3 for the OTA updates. That's a Tesla Model 3. But then again, my head says I can get a better deal. I'm not sure you can get a much better deal than that, actually. At least looking at new cars. I would appreciate any recommendations you might have for a vehicle that balances range, value, and practicality. Best regards, Robert. Well, so he mentions Hyundai Ioniq 5 and 6, right? Was that?
Yeah, both
so,
nice cars, both great cars.
So doesn't seem to be too concerned whether it's an SUV or a sedan. So taking a look here, I found the Hyundai. I think this is used one. Let me just pull this up on the screen real quick. It is a 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 SE, 19,073 miles, 24,499.
That's a good
So
deal.
I don't know, right? So just a real quick looking down, it says it has a 77 kilowatt hour battery. So that's the big battery, right?
Yep.
And it's probably rear wheel drive. So I don't. They didn't mention all wheel drive in their letter. So rear wheel drive. That's a 21,500 car. That's kind of a hard deal to beat, really. 20,000 miles. If you can deal with like a car with 19,000 miles on it, I think that's not crazy. It's not fresh, but there might be a hint of new car smell in there. I don't know.
Yeah, just
it's
a little bit.
It's a 2022, so it hasn't really aged. I mean, there's not like a big time difference at all.
Yeah.
Man, they've put a fair amount of miles on that though in the year.
Not massively so. I mean, it's a
Right,
big
no.
battery. It's rear-wheel drive, and Jeremy paid a lot more for his 22. And pointing out that rear-wheel drive doesn't have battery preconditioning. Michael
Right.
pointing out it's a pretty hard deal to beat.
Right. But we should take a look at the Audi, the 6. Okay, so I don't think I could find, that was really the best deal on the Ioniq 5s I could find. I couldn't really find a used Ioniq 6 that was quite that great a deal.
Yeah, there's not as many around for the 6 yet. It's still a very sought-after vehicle. I don't see as many of them on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the 6 doesn't have the sales as of the 5 here. Like people really like the 5. It's really doing pretty well. The 6 not so much. But there's new design coming out for next year. I think that people are going to enjoy. Is that was that a refresh look?
Yeah, there's a new front end coming out on the 6. Mid-cycle refresh of the 6 coming out.
There's also the Ioniq 6N. That's what it is. It's kind of got me
Yeah,
going
yeah,
a little bit.
there's
I'm a little bit
well.
excited about that. That's going to be a different kind of segment, a little bit more of a high performance vehicle. He just needs a commuter really and a good value. So no fancy things here. So this is like a brand new one, I believe, and it's probably got the $7,500 credit taken off of it already.
It would have done. And I don't feel like this is great value. I mean, obviously, Robert here is all about, he's a value man. He wants to get the best deal. I'm not
Right.
sure this is the best deal that's out there. It's a great car.
Okay.
I'd love it, personally.
305-mile range. It's rear-wheel drive. So, but 32. That's not bad. But I guess the real competitors that would be like the Tesla Model 3.
Yeah.
I feel like so I can pop that button. Oops. Pop
Yeah, no, you go for it.
that on the
Put that on.
screen.
Look, it's really hard to go past a Model 3. It's really hard to go past a 3.
Right. Yeah, because long range. We stick with a rear-wheel drive, 42, and then you take the $72 or $7,500 tax credit off. It's 35. So it's a bit above that Ioniq 6 actually. But I got to say I really like the interior of the new Model 3, the refresh. I personally I like it more than the Ioniq 6 interior. That's a very subjective point of view, of course. Lots of people prefer the Ioniq 6 over the Tesla Model 3.
Yeah.
Model 3 just has that one center screen, so if that's like off-putting to you, the Ioniq 6 is just a more conventional vehicle.
Yeah.
So man, but I still have a hard time. I would still lean that 21,000 Hyundai Ioniq 5 is such a great deal. I would put up with
Yeah,
the mileage on it. Just get
as long
that.
as as long as you can take another $4,000 off that price, as long as they're not advertising it. And they shouldn't advertise it because a lot of people might not qualify for the used vehicle tax credit. So that should be a price that you can take 4.5 off.
Yeah, yeah, it has to be because if it
So
was higher, then it wouldn't be eligible
exactly.
for the
So
right,
so yeah, of course, yeah, because the limit. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. So that's a
right.
stellar deal and a big 3-meter wheelbase. A great vehicle.
Michael reminds us that the end does not belong to Battery Bargains.
Yeah, we're
Podcast.
not about. That's for the Friday show. All right, we'll talk about the end
Yeah.
on Friday. This is about value. We're getting this is the battery bargains going on here.
Every once in a while, though, we do get people looking for like a performance vehicle or something that
Yeah.
is exciting to drive, and like the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. From all reports, I haven't driven it myself, but from all reports, that is a blast to drive. Probably the most fun of any, just like hoonigan kind of fun. I think it'd probably even be as fun or more than the Porsche Taycan. Really,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
like half the price. It's great value, about as quicker than some of the trims of the Taycan, and with the faking the sound and the gear shifts. I don't know. I think people would have a blast with that, and you can light up the tires. Anyway, I digress. So, do you have any more suggestions for our friend Robert here?
You know what? I'm gonna recommend a vehicle which we don't always. It's been in the comments already today, actually, earlier on the program, and that is the Hyundai Kona Electric. It comes in 2 guises, or maybe 3 actually, because the first one had a little facelift, which was the one we owned, and I had that for 12 months. Really liked it. Then there's the new one. For the long range version, 65.4 kilowatt hour battery is a bit bigger. So if you're going to go new, Robert, then EPA range 261. I think 261 EPA we can call a long range EV, which is one. They do a smaller battery as well, but I think 260 miles EPA we can say is you want a long range EV. In the summer, I'd get in mine and it would read 320 or 325 on the dash if I'd been driving around town doing recent miles and it was warm, and it would get more than that as well. The Kona does something with witchcraft, I'm sure, because it's such an efficient vehicle. Ioniq 5, a lot less efficient, even though it's a custom built platform. Much bigger vehicle though, much bigger vehicle. But the first gen Kona out there, 2018, was good, and you'll get an amazing price on that. 24 model year was when it got the refresh, kind of second gen or maybe third gen, depending on how you look at it. But that was designed as more of an EV, whereas the first one was always designed on a platform that had hybrid and combustion as well, which kept the price down. Of course, this new gen Kona is bigger. It's significantly longer and wider and taller. And about 6 centimeters.
It's like the Kia Niro now, right? They're kind of about
Exactly.
the same size.
Yeah, exactly. Nero, also a fantastic deal. So yeah, it's got a slightly bigger battery now. It goes from 64 to 65.4. Significantly, I was never frustrated with the charging, but it was always good enough. That's got better. 75 kilowatt, 78 kilowatt peak, goes to about 102, 103 kilowatts peak on the new Kona. The new displays inside look just like an Ioniq 5. It's the same look inside as the Ioniq 5. And as you say, this is a really important discussion to have around buying used EVs. And that's that you don't let idiots like us, and particularly on the Friday podcast, when we'll have Tom and Kyle on the show as well, and we'll talk about this EV charged 2 minutes quicker on this certain charger, and it's 800 volt, and this one peaked at 200, this one peaked at 192. Don't let that get in the way, and don't feel that you need the latest, greatest toys when you're buying an EV, because the real value out there is buying an EV that's fit for purpose. The real value is maybe even an EV that other people are overlooking because they want the toys, they want the Tesla experience, they want the 800 volt system, which, sure, will charge in optimal conditions 18 minutes, but maybe the Kona is going to take you 25 minutes to add the same amount of miles because it goes further if you don't need the space of the Ioniq 5 because it's more efficient. So how long are you stopping and how many miles are you adding, not just the kilowatts? And of course, that's if you're charging fewer kilowatt hours, then you're saving money as well. Have a look. There's an important thing you need to know, though. Hyundai don't get the $7,500 federal tax credit, but they do match it. So if you're going to go buy a new one, then you effectively get the federal tax credit. If you're buying a used one, then have a look at those prices under 25, and that's where you get some insane value because you get the used vehicle tax credit in there as well. Of course, you can lease a brand new one, and all EVs then get that. It's because the company that's leasing you the vehicle are then taking it's the commercial. I think it's called the commercial clean vehicle tax credit, something like that. But they get it's effectively the same amount of money, but they get to take that and then they should pass it on to you, and I think they do. So it's not anywhere losing out because it doesn't get the federal tax credit, and it really is the Goldilocks vehicle, Robert. It really is. It's just about big enough, I think, for you and your fiance. Occasional road trips. You're not commuting to work every day, but when you do, you'll get there and back easily and charge at home. It's quick without being super fast. It's two-wheel drive. It's very efficient, and it's everything in moderation. But you stack it all together, and the Kona continues to be a brilliant vehicle to recommend. Blue Link app is pretty good. Again, it's not best in class, but does it need to be? Your whole email is about head versus heart, and I think I'd recommend this one.
All right. Interesting choice, Kona. Yeah, over Ioniq 5. Man, that Ioniq 5 deal is hard to beat, though.
Absolutely. Almost a 3-year-old vehicle now, but that's
true.
A beautiful car. That's a beautiful car. A very big car.
Right. But the Kona's got its own, it stands out in the crowd. It's got that really thin kind of lighting across the front now. It's kind of, I don't know. It's got its own look, and that may appeal to some people. Not me so much, but some people out there. All right. So I guess that probably brings us to the end of our show.
Sounds good.
I was just looking if you do you agree? You want to go on? We could get some more emails.
I was just having a look at the comment stream on the side that sits off to the side of the camera. So I was just having a crafty glance over at the comments, seeing does everyone think I'm an idiot for saying that, or is it
no,
in support
Rick's
of that?
Rick's suggesting a lucid, lucid air. Yeah.
It's good value. Look, by the way, this person didn't give us a budget and they want value. A depreciated Lucid is incredible value. Because $100,000 is good value if you're buying a 5-bedroom, apartment in Manhattan. So value is a different thing to cost. And a 1 or 2 year old depreciated Lucid Air is stellar value. So
nice.
Fill your boots.
Fill your boots, right? All right. So if you're looking for your own bespoke EV recommendation, please drop us a line at batterybargains@batteriesincludedpodcast.com. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below or get in touch with us on the social media platform of your choice. Don't forget, if you like the show, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget, if you didn't like the show, please give us a thumbs up. Click subscribe. Tap that bell icon for notifications. Thank you all very much for joining us, and we'll see you all again very soon.